So when I went to high school in 2009, I was just getting into weed a little bit, but towards 2010, that's when I got into my ecstasy phase, which shout out to Trevor, I guess. I heard him during your podcast. He's like, "Oh, you did ecstasy? That's Yuri's thing, blah blah." I'm not saying it's my thing, but I that was like my experience with it was in high school.
Bro, the Russians, like, and we'll get into that in a
I heard you say that. I've never noted. I heard of that though.
That was a huge thing.
Really?
Back in the day. Yeah.
That's interesting.
The Russians were the plug for the ecstasy, and this is like, okay, so two things. As far as the weed thing goes and the cannabis cards, I'm one of the first like few thousand people to ever have a cannabis card.
How hard of a process was it for you to do it?
So I'll break it down to you. So there was people that had medical marijuana cards in the 90s, and it was very difficult to get those. Like
in the 90s?
Yeah. I knew a kid that would have it. He could get like pounds, literally.
Damn.
When a pound was a lot of fucking weed.
Yeah.
Back in like the late 90s, 98, 99.
You're going to jail for life.
Right. He was basically.
Yeah.
Like some of them are still rotting until fucking Biden frees them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's like, I knew a dude who was a terminal cancer patient.
Damn.
And that's how he had a cannabis license, right?
Oh, shit.
But back in the day, like, now LA is essentially like the mecca of marijuana, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day, the Bay Area was always way ahead.
Really?
Like, yeah, Frisco, Oakland,
with
Berkeley.
like the progressiveness of like allowing people to buy and shit.
It was super chill. Like, weed was everywhere. Everyone was way more stoned up there.
What the hell?
It was like way safer to smoke in the streets and
really
not get fucked with. LA, although it was like popping, you would still like, people weren't as open about their pot smoking.
No, I remember when in like 2009, 2010, if I was in I remember I was at an Astro Burger right there on Santa Monica and I forgot that street or whatever. But anyways, I was at the Astro Burger. Two cops walked past me, and I knew at that time, like, if cops even smelled weed on you,
they'll fuck with you.
They'll be like, dude, like, let me see your ID. Like, it was a big deal at that time. But in the Bay, that like it wasn't.
No, they
that
didn't
serious?
really give a fuck.
Damn,
like you could damn near smoke in front of cops. Even
that's crazy.
But like, so here's the thing: there's just a doctor you go to. You tell him like, oh, I have stomach problems. I have a hard time sleeping. He'll write you a script, and there's like this one part of downtown Oakland, and people called it Oaksterdam, and that was one of the reasons I moved up there.
Oaksterdam.
Yeah, and there's like because there's like all the original cannabis facilities were all right there.
Oh wow, that's sick.
And I remember there was on Cron 4, which is like their version of like KCal 9, like that's the Bay Area.
Cron 4?
Cron 4. That's like their news, KRON.
Okay.
Oddly enough, right?
That's funny.
Yeah. I was on, like they had like a story they were doing about people abusing the cannabis like system and all that, and literally there's like a video of me with my backpack that everyone knew walking into one of the cannabis clubs.
Bro, someone has to find this clip somehow.
It was amazing,
bro. That's so fucking funny.
Amazing.
Wait, so how much back in the day when you were going to those cannabis clubs?
That was 2003.
How much was, if you wanted to get an eighth of weed, how much was it?
It was kind of tax. Like,
really?
If you wanted the fire.
How much was it, the fire?
You're paying $60 for it.
Even 2003?
Yeah.
Bro.
But that was like medical grade, like shit. Like, I remember there were certain strains like that aren't even trash now. Shit like called like purple cream and like purple Urkel.
Yeah, haze. Any haze, like, I forgot what, like, something
haze is sativa, and like that
was popular back in the day.
Super silver haze.
Yeah. Oh yeah, super silver haze. Yeah. I've smoked so much of that shit, dude.
Yeah, it was bomb.
That was the $10 grams they had. That was before I even cared about indica and sativa.
Yeah,
as well.
And then you realize it's a huge difference.
Now I feel like it's like I really still don't feel a difference. But every time I purchase weed, I always say indica, just because I know it tends to be heavier.
It's way heavier. Sativa feels like fucking crystal meth, damn. It's like,
dude, that's, you know, it's funny. My dad tells me that it's I've never even, like, my dad his whole life, we're from Russia and shit, right? Yeah. So weed has always been like on the level of heroin. He's always been super against it, but recently he's because he's been working like super heavy jobs, like, you know, installing appliances for a long time. He's done construction. He's just been like physical work his whole life. So now he has all these like different pains, like knee pains, back pains. And I told him, I was like, bro, you know, fuck pills and shit. Like, bro, like if you have back
Right.
pains and knee pains, like do weed and shit instead. So he kind of got into it, and he told me, he's like, whenever I smoke sativa, he's like, I feel all crazy and uppity. And I'm like, it's crazy you can actually sense this. Like,
dog, when people talk about feeling paranoid when they smoke weed, I'd say there's like a 80% chance they're smoking some sativa.
Oh, really?
Or some sativa heavy hybrid, because weed is not supposed to make you feel like that, but the sativa can, because it's like,
that's funny.
More of a stimulant. It affects your head more than your body.
Never thought about that.
Yeah.